Since 2500 BC, or in other words, forever, the rice grain has been the staple food for many people, mainly across Asia. It is said that the rice grain was first discovered near a river in China. Then the grain spread to other countries such as India and Sri Lanka through the form of trade. But how the rice grain got to the Americas is still a mystery. Some say slaves from Africa took it with them when they got captured. Others believe that a ship carrying rice was damaged on its way to its destination, so it had to dock in America. To repay for the fixing of the ship, the men gave the Americans rice. Because of technological advancements, there are now 40,000 different types of rice. So thank you, smart scientists. There are three main categories of rice: Indica, Javanica, and Japonica. Indica rice is long grain rice. Basmati and jasmine rice is a type of indica rice. Javanica rice is a medium grain rice. An example of Javanica rice is bomba. Bomba is often used to make paella, a famous dish from Spain. Another example would be sushi rice. Lastly, Javanica rice is short grain rice. These rice include arborio rice, or in other words, risotto rice. Other rice known as specialty rice include wahani, which is similar to brown rice, kalijira, a type of long grain white rice. Wild rice has a nutty flavor, and Chinese black rice, also known as the forbidden rice. So why do people eat rice, you might ask? Well, the answer is quite simple. Rice is cheap staple food and is a good source of nutrients. The most obvious health benefit of rice is it gives us fast and instant energy as it contains lots of carbohydrates. Other nutritional benefits of rice include vitamin B1. Vitamin B1 helps your skin health, metabolism, which is the chemical process that helps you digest. Vitamin B1 also helps you reduce high blood pressures, improve your immune system, and provide protection against cancer. In addition to vitamin B1, rice also contains calcium, iron, fiber, and vitamin D. Brown rice is proven to be a lot healthier than white rice because it is high in fiber, releases sugar slowly, which helps you stabilize your sugar levels. Brown rice is very good for diabetes patients. It also has lots of natural occurring oils, which is good for our health. Keep in mind all these nutritional benefits will only be helpful if you consume rice in the correct or recommended proportion. A tip to stay healthy while eating rice. Only eat rice for breakfast and lunch and try to avoid dinner. When you eat rice in the morning, the carbohydrates will be used to help you function throughout the day. But the carbohydrates that you take in at night is used less, therefore stored in your body as fat. Also, try to eat small quantities of rice at a time. Do not eat too much in one meal. Try to avoid eating fried rice because the oil that is used gets soaked into the rice. Therefore, when you eat it, the food will generate more carbohydrates than needed. This excess carbohydrates will turn into fat. So how exactly is the amazing grain of rice produced? First of all, the grain of rice's natural habitat is tropical marshes, or in other words, treeless wetlands. Because of the advanced technology we now have, scientists are able to modify the rice so that it can grow in both tropical and subtropical climates. For the rice plant to grow, the climate must be extremely moist and have moderate temperatures. This is approximately 24 degrees Celsius. The rice plant usually takes 3 to 6 months to complete full growth. The height of a fully grown rice plant can vary anywhere from 0.4 meters to 5 meters. There are 4 stages to the production of rice. The first step is to sow the rice seeds. Once the rice seed has grown into a stable condition, these plants are moved into flooded paddies. They are then left to dry by the sun until the plant is drooping. Finally, the farmers proceed to harvest the rice. There are plenty of ways to cook rice. You can do all sorts of things to make it your own. You can dry brown rice and toss it in salt and seaweed to make a delicious snack. Or you can steam or boil the rice. You can even cook it straight on the hob. The hob method is used to make dishes such as risotto. And if you're having one of those days where you couldn't be bothered to do anything, you could just chuck the rice into a rice cooker with some water, press a button, and sit back and do absolutely nothing. If you are using this method, a good tip that might come in handy is to make sure you have a good balance between the amount of water and the rice. If you don't put enough water, the rice will turn out dry. If there is too much water, the rice will become soft and soggy. To have a good balance, you should add water so that the surface of the water is roughly 3 centimeters away from the surface of the rice. Don't believe me? Try it yourself. We'll see who's right. If you think normal white rice is just too boring and you're just completely fed up with it, you can improve it by seasoning rice when you cook it. This way, the flavors will infuse into the rice and your rice will no longer be plain and boring and will not get on your nerves. You could add coconut milk to the rice if you want a sweet taste. You could add some herbs, such as basil, to create an aromatic rice. You could also add some lemon zest into the rice and produce a nice tangy rice. Uncooked rice has spores of Bacillus cereus. This is a bacteria that causes food poisoning. When the rice is cooked, the pores can survive. At room temperature, this bacteria multiplies and produces toxins which can cause vomiting or diarrhea. To keep safe, serve the rice as soon as it has been cooked. If not, cool the rice as quickly as possible. Do not keep rice in the fridge for more than 1 day, and do not reheat rice more than once. Different cultures use rice for different things. In Spain, rice is mainly used to make the famous dish paella. Some say that paella was first created when a Moorish king's servant made dinner by mixing all the leftovers together. In South Korea, the rice is often used to make bibimbap, a simple rice dish where vegetables and meat are mixed with rice in a type of chili sauce. Risotto, famous for its richy goodness. This is how the Italians use their rice, and I can't say it's a mistake. In Thailand, rice is used to make khao man gai, which is simply chicken with rice. Don't let its simplicity fool you. Khao man gai is one of the most famous street foods in Thailand. The Brits don't eat rice as much as people in Asia, but they do use this ingredient in some of their dishes, one of them being the famous rice pudding. Here's a weird one. After the war had just finished, rice was commonly used in Vietnam as glue. People did not have enough money to buy a glue stick, but they had rice, so they said, "Oh hey, since we don't have glue, let's use rice," because that is totally the most obvious solution. The rice is cooked until it was mushy. It was then grinded up using a pestle and mortar. And ta-da! You now have glue. Who eats rice anyway? Well, almost everyone eats rice. The young, old, fat, thin, sporty or not, there's a high chance you would have eaten rice at least once in your lifetime. As rice is the staple food for many countries in Asia, Asian people tend to have the highest rice consumption rate compared to others around the world. On average, one Asian person consumes about 150 kilograms of rice per year. 90% of the rice produced from all around the world is eaten in Asia. I guess you would have picked up by now that Asians are a big fan of rice. In fact, rice is so important that many countries use the word rice to refer to food in general. Toyota, an iconic Asian car brand, translated actually means bountiful rice field. Honda, another iconic brand, can be translated to main rice field. In Western countries, rice is not the staple food. Instead, they might use rice in certain dishes, such as rice pudding or in salads. If you are tired of rice, there are lots of alternatives for you to choose from. If you are vegan and need a good source of protein, iron, and calcium, eat quinoa. This alternative is high in amino acids, which produce proteins. If you have to lower your cholesterol levels, eat oats. Another alternative for rice is cauliflower granules. Not only do they look pretty on a plate, they taste good as well. You could also eat millet, which is a form of barley. Millet is the staple food for many countries in Africa. In Indonesia, we have nasi goreng, a tasty rice dish served with chicken skewers and a sunny-side-up egg. Pilaf can be found almost everywhere in Asia. It is generally rice cooked in a seasoned broth and mixed in vegetables, meats, and even dried fruits. In Colombia, we have arroz de liza. This dish is a sweet dish. The rice is drizzled with sweet coconut milk and served with some soft and salty costeño cheese. Bored out of your wits? Here's a fun fact for you. A Taiwanese artist once carved a portrait of a Chinese leader named Xi Jinping into the rice grain. Imagine the skills and time it took, and the amount of times he jabbed his finger with the carving knife. Struggling to make rice? Is the rice on the bottom of your pot always burning? Here's a tip. If you're cooking rice on the hob, put the heat on high and add the rice. Once the rice has boiled and most of the water has been absorbed, cover the pot with a lid and turn the fire down to extremely low. By doing this, you'll be preventing the grains at the bottom from burning. Since we're talking about rice, here's an interesting website to look at. freerice.com is a charity website where you answer random trivia questions. For every question you answer correctly, 10 grains of rice is donated to the poor living in starvation. So go and use your super brains to help others.